Hey, what's up, sports bettors? It's Matt Modi with Oxjam, and what we're going to do in this video is just give a general Game 4 betting preview. So, in my Game 3 betting preview, I settled on taking the under as my bet. That obviously did not hit, nor did it beat the closing line. Money had come in on the under, so I thought that was a good bet that would end up beating the closing line. I was incorrect. That bet didn't hit. Luckily, I'm still up overall with my NBA main market bets, total, spread, money line, stuff like that, but took the L for Game 3. So Game 4, the Celtics are even bigger favorites than they were in Game 3. Not surprising. They dominated the Warriors. The only really life the Warriors showed was in that third quarter, which they have done the entire NBA Finals. Really, the whole Warriors run, it's all been that third quarter. But outside of that, the Celtics pretty much dominated the Warriors. You definitely have to be concerned if you are a Warriors fan. They've won the third quarter in all three games. They've dominated the third quarter in all three games. Only have one win to show for it, are down 2-1 in the series. To me, the biggest takeaway that I had from Game 3 is that the Celtics were just much more physical than they had been in Games 1 or 2. Tatum was much more physical driving to the rim. They had, how many offensive rebounds did the Celtics had? They had 15 offensive rebounds. Horford, Robert Williams, Jaylen Brown, and Grant Williams each had 3. And that was mostly just because they just put whoever was trying to box him out on the Warriors, they just put him under the basket or just leapt over them. So I think there's legitimate concerns for the Warriors moving forward. And I haven't even mentioned the fact that Steph seemed to injured his foot or his ankle at the end of the fourth quarter. Now, he said he's going to play. Steve Kerr said that they're waiting on tests before they say anything. I'm hoping Steph plays because obviously if he doesn't, this is going to be a 5-game series. I'm moving forward with this as assuming that Steph will play. Obviously, if that changes, then everything I say here will just be moot. But looking at the odds for Game 4, like I said, I'm not surprised that the Warriors are bigger underdogs than they were in Game 3. The Celtics, like I said, pretty much dominated them. And the way they went about doing it is what really concerns me for the Warriors. They had a great game from Steph. They had a great game from Clay. And they could still only muster up 100 points in the game. Draymond Green has been horrible on offense. He's just been awful. And they really couldn't get offense from anybody else. Wiggins had a decent game, but he went 1 for 6 from 3. And he still just misses so many easy buckets at the rim. So many missed layups. Jordan Poole gave them 10 points, but he was mostly a non-factor. So if the Warriors are going to get two great games from Steph and Clay and still only manage to get up 100 points, that's concerning. And that's just because the Celtics defense is just incredible. The Warriors, their best source of offense is off of Celtics turnovers. So if the Celtics clean that up like they did in mostly the second half, the Celtics ended the game with 12 turnovers. I believe 8 of those came in the first half. So, and of the 4 in the second half, I believe the majority of them, like 3 of them, were in that third quarter when the Warriors made their run. Now, of course, the Warriors' really only source of half-court offense is a high pick and roll for Steph Curry. And then if one of the Celtics big men who's in the pick and roll plays drop coverage, which is what Horford was doing, Curry's going to make a 3. And that's what happened mostly in that third quarter. Obviously, the 4-point play happened when Horford was a little bit back, and then he tried to step up, but it was too late, and he landed under Steph's feet. Might have been a flop. I don't think it was, but some people are calling that a flop. And then that happened again in that third quarter where Horford was too far back, and Curry just walked into a 3. When the Celtics switched that to Robert Williams, it's a little bit more difficult for Steph. Now, Williams has been hit or miss with his knee. He looked great in Game 3. If he continues to look that good, then it's going to be concerning again for the Warriors, because he can play that high pick and roll much better than any of the other Celtics big men just because his length and his leaping ability. So outside of that high pick and roll, if the Celtics play drop coverage, the Warriors just have no form of half-court offense. So it's concerning to me moving forward. With that said, it's hard for me to think that the Warriors are going to lose 2 straight and go down 3-1 in the finals, assuming Steph is healthy. I can't imagine Draymond is going to continue to play as horrible on offense as he has so far. He only had 2 points. Of course, he fouled out. And the Warriors, interestingly enough, took him off of Jaylen Brown when Jaylen Brown was cooking in that first quarter. Jaylen Brown, if we look specifically at that first quarter, Jaylen Brown had 17 points, 3 of 4 shooting from 3, 6 of 9 shooting overall. And I don't know why the Warriors went away from Draymond Green on Jaylen Brown. So I'm hoping they go back to that in game 4. And just looking at the odds themselves, there is a little bit of value getting the Warriors plus 150 on DraftKings. So the OddsJam line prices the Celtics at minus 157, prices the Warriors at plus 141. If you enter that into a no vig odds calculator, minus 157 plus 141, just to remove the vig, we see that the true line of the Warriors money line with the vig removed is at plus 147. So getting them at plus 150 is pretty decent value. It is risky, but I'm going to go ahead and lock this one in on DraftKings. I'm hoping that Steph plays, and if you can get a positive EV bet this early in the week, I'm hoping that it'll end up beating the closing line. The Warriors money line, like I said, ended around plus 139 in game 3. So getting that extra 10 cents, I think, is pretty valuable. So I'm going to go ahead and lock this in. I'm just going to put a 2-unit bet on it for now. It is a little bit risky, but I will go ahead and lock this one in because I love getting positive EV bets this early in the week. So the Warriors money line is going to be one of the bets that I put into the spreadsheet. I'm going to keep going. So looking at the spread, the Celtics are about 3.5 to 4-point favorites. So the betting opened up with the Celtics at 3.5. They've received like 90% of the money or something like that. So majority of the books have them at minus 4. So if you did want to get the Celtics, getting them minus 3.5 at minus 108 on WinBet is pretty valuable. For me, I'm obviously going to sit that one out because I took the Warriors money line. And then if you think the Warriors are going to cover, then it makes sense to get them at plus 4 at minus 108. There's a little bit of value here with the OddsJam line having this at minus 111. And then a little bit of value, again, the Celtics at minus 3.5, but a little bit less with the OddsJam line having this at minus 109. So again, if you want to ride with the Celtics, I will get them at minus 3.5 on WinBet. If you want to ride with the Warriors, get them at plus 4 on BetRivers. But this is kind of what we're looking for when we are line shopping. We're finding price discrepancies between all the sports books, and we're finding value. I'm going to sit out a spread play. I'm going to move on to the total. This is where I had game 3 completely wrong. I was not expecting the Celtics offense to look as good as they did. I mean, they just, throughout the whole game, they were just awesome. They had a couple random stretches of turnovers, like in that second quarter, mostly Marcus Smart just doing really dumb passes. But overall, the Celtics offense was awesome. And if they did happen to miss, they got the offensive rebound. So I bet the spread, or the total, at 212 in game 3, thinking that would beat the closing line. I was wrong. The total ended at about 214, 215, and that's exactly where it sits now. So as of right now, it looks like, again, there is a little bit of value on the under 215 on DraftKings at minus 110. It's not a plus EV play if you remove the VIG, and I do like it, the fact that every other book has this priced at 214.5, but I'm not going to die with the under again like I did in game 3. I'm going to wait and find a truly positive expected value play as opposed to doing what I did earlier, taking one that was negative EV and hoping that it would change and become positive EV, because the opposite actually happened. So I'm going to sit out a total bet for now, although I do think it goes under. And if to give my official prediction, obviously I bet the Warriors money line because that was a plus EV play. But if I had to if I didn't look at any math and someone just asked me, what do you think is going to happen? I actually think the Celtics win and cover. I think they discovered their formula in game 3. Now the Celtics have been up and down most of these playoffs. They won 2 in a row in the Bucks series and in the Heat series. That Bucks series, they won games 6 and 7, obviously to win in 7. The Heat series, they won games 4 and 5. So they have won 2 straight in the postseason so far, but they've kind of been hit or miss from game to game. So while I do think the Celtics win and cover, I'm trusting the math over anything, and that's why I'm settling on the Warriors money line as my bet as of right now, because it is plus EV. Now, another thing I like to check for these early lines is I literally just look at the positive EV page, and then I'll just Control F Celtics. So it does look like that Warriors money line one I already bet is on here. That's the only positive expected value play on this game as of right now. So I'm just going to settle with the Warriors money line. So if you're tailing me on the Warriors money line, I would love to hear it. You can comment on the video, let me know you're tailing. Other than that, would appreciate if you could like the video and subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel. Check us out. We're going to have a bunch of NBA Finals content as the week goes on, but I wanted to make sure that I got this betting preview out as early as possible. So hope you enjoyed it and have a good one.